Over 2,000 years in ancient Greece, a blind poet known as Homer, along with the most famous authors, playwrights, and historians of their day, recorded the tales known to us as Greek mythology. They spoke of the great heroes of the land, the mighty gods of Olympus, and the mortal men and women who were unfortunate enough to get in their way. But who was Zeus, and why did he wage a war against his own father and send a great flood to wipe out humanity? How was mankind created by Prometheus, and why were the horrors of the world unleashed from Pandora's box? What awaited the souls of the dead in the realm of Hades, and how were monsters such as the Hydra, the Cyclops, and Medusa slain by famous heroes? From the 12 labors of Hercules to the Trojan War, this is the entire story of Greek mythology. In the beginning, there was only chaos, a great void of emptiness. But from chaos sprang Gaia, the earth, as well as Eros, love. They were then joined by night and day, bringing an end to the reign of darkness with the eternal cycle of dusk and dawn. Lastly came Tartarus, the deepest depths of the world, where condemned souls would be sent for punishment. But these were not the only primordial beings, for Gaia would give birth to Uranos, the sky. Together, they produced 12 children, 6 sons and 6 daughters, who would become known as the Titans. Among them was Oceanus, the great river that encircled the world, and Hyperion, the sun, who rode his chariot across the sky, shining light upon the earth. And when day became night, his daughter, Selene, the moon, would rise to illuminate the darkness. But Uranos was a cruel father, imprisoning his children deep within the earth. To escape, they turned to their mother Gaia, who forged an indestructible sickle and gave it to her youngest and strongest son, Kronos. Kronos waited, and when Uranos came to lie with Gaia, he struck, ending his father and ending his rule. From the sea that followed, Aphrodite was born, the goddess of love and beauty, and Kronos became ruler of the world. But Kronos' reign would not last, for with his sister Rhea, he would have 3 sons and 3 daughters, who would become known as the gods. Kronos, however, was just as cruel as his own father. Having been told that one of his children would overthrow him, he swallowed each of them whole as they were born. Only one would escape this fate: Zeus. The youngest, saved by his mother Rhea, who hid him away on Mount Ida in Crete, and tricked Kronos into swallowing a stone instead. Raised in secret, Zeus would grow strong, waiting for the day he could challenge his father. And when that day came, Zeus returned. He struck down Kronos and forced him to release his siblings. With his brothers and sisters at his side, Zeus waged war against the Titans for 10 long years. From the depths of the earth, he released the 100-handed giants and the Cyclopes, legendary craftsmen, who forged him a mighty thunderbolt. They gave Poseidon a trident and Hades a helm of invisibility. With these weapons, the tide of the war turned. The Titans were defeated and cast into Tartarus, where they would remain for eternity. Atlas, who had led them in battle, was given a special punishment, forced to hold the sky on his shoulders forever. Only a few Titans were spared, including Themis and Prometheus, who had sided with Zeus. With the world free from Titan rule, the 3 brothers divided it among themselves. Zeus took the sky, Poseidon took the sea, Hades took the underworld, and from Mount Olympus the gods ruled over the world. But Prometheus was not satisfied. He looked upon the earth and saw only beasts, and so he created mankind from clay, shaping them in the image of the gods. But man was weak, living in darkness, hiding in caves. So Prometheus gave them fire, a gift stolen from the gods, allowing them to rise, to build, to create, to dominate the world. But Zeus was not pleased. He demanded that man show gratitude through sacrifice. Prometheus, however, deceived him, giving humans the best portions of meat, while the gods received only bones. Enraged, Zeus took fire away from mankind, but Prometheus stole it back, and for this he was punished. Chained to a mountain, an eagle would come each day to devour his liver, which would grow back each night, only for the torment to begin again. But Zeus was not done. He wanted to punish humanity, so he created Pandora, the first woman, gifted with beauty, curiosity, and a sealed box she was forbidden to open. But curiosity consumed her, and when she opened it, all the evils of the world escaped: greed, disease, suffering, death. Only one thing remained inside: hope. And so the golden age of man came to an end. Humanity fell into corruption, violence, and war, until Zeus decided they had gone too far, and so he unleashed a great flood to wipe them from the earth. Only two survived, Deucalion and Pyrrha. Warned in advance, they built a ship and endured the storm. When the waters receded, they repopulated the world, giving humanity a second chance. With the world now reborn, the gods of Olympus took their place. Zeus ruled the sky, wielding thunder and lightning. Poseidon ruled the seas, shaking the earth with his trident. And Hades ruled the underworld, where the souls of the dead would reside. Athena, goddess of wisdom and war, born fully grown from the head of Zeus. Apollo, god of light, music, and prophecy, whose arrows never missed. And Artemis, goddess of the hunt, protector of the wild. Ares, the embodiment of war and bloodshed. Aphrodite, goddess of love and desire, whose beauty could bend even gods to her will. And Hephaestus, the master of the forge, who crafted weapons and wonders beyond imagination. But while the gods ruled above, mortals below would rise to greatness. Heroes who would challenge monsters, defy fate, and carve their names into legend. One of the first was Perseus, sent on a quest to slay the Gorgon Medusa, a creature whose gaze turned men to stone. Armed with divine gifts, a mirrored shield, a sword, and the helm of invisibility, he found her, and with a single strike, ended her life. From her body sprang Pegasus, the winged horse, and Perseus would go on to save Andromeda and become a legend. Then came Theseus, who entered the labyrinth of Crete, a maze so vast none who entered ever returned. At its center lived the Minotaur, a creature half man, half bull. Guided by a thread, Theseus navigated the maze and, in a brutal battle, slew the beast, freeing Athens from its terrible tribute. But no hero was greater than Hercules, the son of Zeus, blessed with unimaginable strength, yet cursed with unimaginable suffering. Driven mad by Hera, he killed his own family, and to atone was forced to complete 12 impossible labors. He slew the Nemean lion, defeated the Hydra, captured Cerberus from the underworld, and accomplished feats no mortal ever could, becoming the greatest hero of Greek mythology. But even heroes could not escape fate, and soon a war would begin, that would change everything: the Trojan War. It began with a single choice, a golden apple given to the most beautiful goddess. Hera, Athena, Aphrodite all claimed it, and a mortal prince, Paris, was chosen to decide. Each goddess offered him power. Hera promised dominion, Athena promised victory in war, but Aphrodite promised him the most beautiful woman in the world, Helen, and he chose her. But Helen was already married to Menelaus, king of Sparta, and when Paris took her to Troy, Greece went to war. For 10 long years, the Greeks laid siege to Troy. The greatest warriors of the age clashed before its walls. Achilles, the strongest of them all. Hector, Troy's greatest defender. Ajax, Odysseus, Diomedes, heroes whose names would echo through time. The gods themselves took sides. Athena and Hera favored the Greeks. Apollo and Ares stood with Troy. The battlefield became chaos as mortals and gods collided. At the heart of the war stood Achilles, nearly invincible, feared by all. But when his honor was insulted, he refused to fight, and without him, the Greeks began to fall, until his closest friend, Patroclus, took his place. Wearing Achilles' armor, he entered the battle and was killed by Hector. When Achilles learned the truth, his grief turned to rage. He returned to battle like a force of nature, and when he faced Hector, there was no mercy. He struck him down and dragged his body across the battlefield. But even Achilles could not escape fate. Struck in his only weak point, his heel, he fell. With their greatest warrior gone, the Greeks turned to cunning. Odysseus devised a plan, a wooden horse, a trap, left at the gates of Troy as a false offering. The Trojans, believing the war was over, brought it inside their city. That night, Greek soldiers emerged from within the horse. They opened the gates, and the city of Troy fell, burned, destroyed. An empire ended. With Troy in ruins, the age of heroes faded. But one story remained, one journey greater than all the rest. Odysseus, the most cunning of the Greeks. His war was over, but his journey home had only just begun. As he sailed for Ithaca, a storm struck, sent by Poseidon, who sought revenge. Blown off course, Odysseus and his men found themselves lost in a world of monsters and gods. They came upon the Cyclops, Polyphemus, a giant who devoured men. Trapped in his cave, Odysseus devised a plan. He blinded the monster and escaped. But in doing so, he revealed his name and earned the wrath of Poseidon. They faced the sirens, whose voices lured sailors to their deaths. Odysseus alone heard their song, bound to the mast as his crew sailed past. They sailed between Scylla and Charybdis, one a monster that devoured men, the other a whirlpool that swallowed ships whole. He chose the lesser evil, and still men were lost. They reached the island of the sun god, Helios, warned not to touch his sacred cattle, but hunger drove his men to disobey, and Zeus struck their ship with lightning. All were killed, all except Odysseus. Alone he drifted until he reached the island of Calypso, a goddess who offered him immortality, but he refused, for he longed for home. After years of suffering, he finally returned to Ithaca, but not as a king, as a beggar. His home overrun by suitors, men who sought to take his throne and his wife. But Odysseus was still Odysseus. With his bow in hand, he revealed himself, and one by one, he struck them down, reclaiming his home, his throne, his life.
And so, the age of heroes came to an end. The gods withdrew from the world, no longer walking among men, no longer shaping their fate. Humanity was left alone, to build, to fight, to suffer, to rise. From gold to silver to bronze, and finally to iron, the age of man. A world without gods, without monsters, without legends walking among them. But their stories remained, passed down through generations, told again and again. Stories of power, of ambition, of love, of revenge, of fate. Stories of gods and men. This is Greek mythology.